Hey, my fellow writing addicts, I'm Marissa,
And I'm Haley.
and today we're doing a book review of Vicious by V.E. Schwab, which
Yeah.
I have right here.
Hey, me
Yay!
too!
Woo!
Twinsies! Well, this is going to be our first ever book review, and hopefully not the last.
Fingers crossed.
The hard part is that we have to, both read the book and then have time to read the book, and it has to be the same book. So, that's why we don't do much of these.
Yeah, it's very true. It's very odd how similar we are, and yet we don't read the same books most of the time, or at least at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Never the same time.
Well, anyway, so this will be a spoiler-free review, so even if you haven't read the book, you are safe, you are fine, you'll get essentially a general feeling of what's going on. It's gonna be good.
As for a summary of this book, it's about Victor and Eli, started out as college roommates, brilliant, arrogant, lonely boys who recognized the same sharpness and ambition in each other. In their senior year, a shared research interest in adrenaline, near-death experiences, and seemingly supernatural events reveals an intriguing possibility that under the right conditions, someone could develop extraordinary abilities. But when their thesis moves from the academic to the experimental, things go horribly wrong.
Bum bum bum! And 10 years later, Victor breaks out of prison, determined to catch up to his old friend, now foe, aided by a young girl whose reserved nature obscures a stunning ability. Meanwhile, Eli is on a mission to eradicate every other superpowered person that he can find, aside from his sidekick, of course, an enigmatic woman with an unbreakable will, armed with terrible power on both sides, driven by the memory of betrayal and loss. The arch nemesis or nemesis, the arch nemesis have set a course for revenge, but who will be left alive at the end?
We know.
Well, yeah, we know.
So we're going to break this down very loosely into, we're going to talk about the plot, characters, character arcs, themes, writing style, and miscellaneous other things we just feel like talking about that doesn't fit in here. And then we'll give you a score. And I just realized we never actually talk about a scoring system, so it's going to be fun to see how we both picked our scoring system.
Woo!
And yeah, but of course, knowing us, we're not going to strictly follow this format, so yeah.
One day we'll come up with a scoring thing and actually have a video on it. And this is what it'll be for now.
Woo!
We'll just, I don't know, trudge along without a guide in the night.
I'm just hoping that our twin powers work today and we both just pick the same scoring system unconsciously.
I don't know, hopefully. All right, let's kick this off by talking about the plot.
I thought the plot was the premise of this entire story is very intriguing. The fact that, wait, crap. Gotta look through the back page again just to make sure I don't spoil anything. Okay, yeah, that people can just get superpowers and they have actual science. I don't know how correct it is, how much of it is made up and how much of it is true, because I'm an English major and science. I'm only slightly better at science than I am at math, and I'm pretty bad at math. But I do like the premise of it, and that's what really drew me in. Also, I also like this. It has a comic book feel to it. The entire plot.
I mean, you kind of said everything I wanted to. I do say that I love the plot for the most part, and here's why. There's no set element that I was like I picked out I don't really like that. When it comes to the plot, it's just there was one moment where I felt that it slowed.
Yeah, same. We have the exact same moment because we talked about this ahead of time. We couldn't help ourselves.
When it's spoiler, talking. But
yeah.
But I'm glad it didn't slow down enough where I wanted to put down the book. It was just, wow, I can kind of feel it now. So
You know what I liked about the plot? And I guess I don't know if this is breaching on writing style section, but what I do like is that it presents you with like a really like big question, which is what happened in the past that made Victor and Eli enemies. And
Yeah.
anytime you learn something, you get like an answer, but it also raises more questions, and that's kind of like almost the entire book until you get closer to the end. And it's a way to like get you reading more. And like this book actually is kind of, it's like we've looked up how much words it is. It's like 80,000 words. So it's like standard size novel, but it feels faster than it
It
is.
feels a lot faster, yeah.
Like and it helps is that some chapters are like literally like 2 pages.
Yeah. And because we talked about it in a different video about how to do subplots where one chapter is the present and then the other chapter is the past, and that's how this works. And that's why some of them are so short. It's like, okay, here's what they're doing in the present, now back to the past. And it's always kind of clear cut, which I really appreciated. It kind of made um flip flopping really easy because if it cut in the middle, I might have missed it.
Yeah.
Ugh, I hate when it does that. But yeah, can't say too much about the plot without going into it.
True.
So let's move on to the characters, which is fun because I don't know how much I want to say about each of them.
Okay, let's go. I guess character by character. Let's talk with the main character, Victor.
I think Victor is my second favorite character. It's really close. It's like my main favorite, which I can't say, and then Victor. He's so close.
No, you probably could say it. I think there's really only one character I would say you should mention.
Mm. Um, my favorite character is Mitch.
Mm.
And it's just because he is, I don't know, I found him, I'm not going to focus on him. Victor, on the other hand, I'm like, you know what? I'm not even going to. Mitch is my favorite, but I don't know how much I want to talk about him. Spoilers are always,
We'll get to him later.
yeah, he's always so hard for me. But anyway, Victor, um, what I love about him is that he he's just so fun in the fact that he's kind of an asshole.
Yeah, he's like
Like,
a
and this
really
isn't
good.
it's not even like this isn't even a spoiler because it's like day one, the second you meet him, asshole.
Yeah. I think he's a good example of that asshole character that everyone wants to write, but some people can't because the problem is they write an asshole character, but then they act like they kind of like say like, hey, this behavior is fine, he's an asshole just to be an asshole. Well, Victor, he's an asshole, but they're not pretending like that's okay for him. They're not saying like, oh yeah, you should be like him and stuff. Nope, he's an asshole. They like everyone knows it. People aren't afraid to call him out on his bullshit. And that's what I
Yeah.
like about him. And he even knows that he's kind of an asshole.
Yeah, even he says like there's so much in the book that'll kind of lend itself to saying like no, he knows he's the way he is.
Mm-hmm.
And he only really pretends so he can, kind of fit in with the masses so they don't fucking, hunt him down. But at no
Yeah.
point was it like, oh, you should be like Victor. No, never. Not.
I
It's
think
kind of
there's
fun. I
there's
was like, it's
like
kind
one
of
character
one.
who wants. We need to start raising our hands when we want to talk. This needs to be like class again. Miss, Miss, can I speak?
No, you
Miss,
can't. Shut up. I'm not done.
Miss,
No,
Miss,
fuck you.
Miss Hunt,
No.
Marisi Hunt. Man, take a shot every time I said asshole in this. You'll die.
Yeah, I'd rather not take a shot every time you say asshole. But what I love about it is that it's kind of like what you said. When you said it, like, oh, this is the asshole you wanted. I'm just like, he's like that stereotypical jock alpha asshole who was like, yeah, I'm manly and I do what I want with no consequences. Kind of Gary Stu dude who's just a giant douchebag. And I'm like, yeah, that's not Victor whatsoever. And God, I love him for it. But
I know.
he tries to be nice too. There is like a niceness to him, even though like he knows he's an asshole, which I appreciate.
He just lacks empathy.
Yeah, which is funny because he has more empathy than Eli.
Huh, yep, that's it. So, I might as well segue to Eli.
Might as
Well, with that. Yeah. Eli, I think, is a good antagonist. He's an antagonist where you fully understand why he does what he does. And I can see how some people might view his morals or his reasoning as right. It's just as all many good villains, reasoning is correct. I somewhat agree. Well, you can agree. I don't. Okay, personally, I don't agree, but you can agree with him. It's just his execution and what he does with what he thinks is right is not good.
What kills me about Eli is that from the start they say that he's religious. And I don't mind religious characters. I will never say that. It's just as it goes on, it's quite obvious that he clings to religion in a very unhealthy way.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because of that that he became one of my least favorite characters. But that's just because I have an issue with like people like obsessed with religion like that. So it was just like I'm uncomfortable, but I also agree with what he's. It's weird. It's like I can see why you're doing what you're doing, but I still hate you.
Yeah, he's also one of his favorite characters, but he's still a good character.
Yeah, he's still a good character. I like him as a villain.
Mm-hmm.
I like that essentially we have two assholes
Yeah,
who know they're assholes fighting against each other, and it's like good. I like this. The only kind of I guess I do like Mitch. I feel like he's one of the more morally great characters, but I think the character that is the most pure is Sydney.
mm-hmm.
And hold on, my cat is trying to attack one of my boards.
Fun.
But just because, but I mean, she is. I mean, I think that's just due to her age.
What I like about all these characters is that I don't think there's a single character in this book that is completely good or completely evil. All of them are definitely in this gray area. Some are just lighter gray than others.
Yeah, definitely. I also like that it was a nice collection of essentially fucked up individuals.
Mm-hmm.
But I liked how they were presented. Like, no, they're all human. They're just all fucked up in different ways, which I appreciated. Especially now with a lot of books and movies being like, this is the clear good guy or good, gal. Can't do anything wrong, total Mary Sue or Gary Stu. And then you have the
Yeah.
complete obvious bad guy who's like obviously hideous, obviously evil, and it's like, wow, if only the world worked that way.
Yep. Let me tell you, I think uh okay, Sarita, she's actually one of my favorites. Not to get into too much detail about her, but how do I talk about her without spoiling things? Her story and what she is going through was definitely really interesting, and I've never imagined if I was put in her position. Like, you imagine someone in her position. I'm trying to say this in the vaguest way possible that you and anyone who has read this book can understand, but yeah, it's not a spoiler. Um, in other books, you don't actually think of the consequences of this, but this
Yeah.
explores it in a way that I haven't seen before.
Serena was definitely I found her very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
In that I found her the way she viewed everything interesting, and I liked her conflict.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say that much. And I do like the way she came out, essentially. Like at the end, I was happy with her. I'll put it
Yeah.
that way.
Yep. You know what I found interesting about this book? so I was going through like each of the topics we have, and I was like, you know what I realized? I can't really think of a character arc that any character has gone on.
The only character that had a character arc that I could clearly see was Sydney.
Same, yeah.
Everyone else, the only other person I could think of that had a weird character arc and that they really changed from beginning to end was Eli. But while Sydney's was more of a positive character arc, Eli definitely took more of a negative. That's all I'll say about it.
I don't know. Is it character arc or I guess so. It's a change. Me personally, I don't think he really changed. I think it's more of something that was already inside him has come out. But I guess in a
Yeah.
way that's still a character arc.
The reason I called his a character arc and not anyone else's is because just from what little bits I could gather was that in the past he talks about how I put this non spoilery. Essentially, once he gets like his powers, he talks about how they've all talked about like how they change, like how they feel different, and the way he describes it, it's kind of the the monster inside him is just there's no kind of way to hide, not way to hide it, but like no reason to hide it anymore, and any kind of connection to really try to hide it and be normal is kind of gone.
Yeah.
It's very bad. You have to catch it. And it just seems like he just progressively got like worse and worse. So when I got to the end and I read like his final lines, I was kind of sad for Eli.
Yeah, I know, right?
So, that's as close to a spoiler I will get, but he is the villain, and it's kind of weird that for the villain I feel sad for, but not in a, oh, I wanted you to win way, but in a, no, I genuinely feel bad for what happened to you, kind of.
Well, that's a good sign. That's a sign of a good villain.
Yeah. Obviously, we can't talk about Sydney's arc without really going into spoiler details. So, sadly, we can't do too much, but out of the two arcs, Sydney's was my favorite. She was the most fun to kind of see. So since we're kind of done with character arcs, let's move on to themes.
Did you have anything? Because I left mine blank.
I do. So the book deals with your death, and essentially, I just think the theme of this book is trauma and how you respond to it.
Oh my gosh, Marissa. Galaxy brain right now. You're so right.
Well, they mentioned that, having a near-death experience is classified as a trauma, but trauma's too small of a spectrum to really narrow it down to what they're looking for very early on in the book.
Oh my god, this is all oh my god! If you take the powers and just make it into like PTSD, it explains a lot. It fits, that's what they mean. Like, it makes sense with like a near-death experience. When they come back, they actually have lost a bit of themselves. Oh my god, they've changed. Sorry, I'm just having it all connect. The dots are being connected in my brain. I don't claim to be a smart person. Sometimes I need someone to literally spell it out for me.
To be fair, I am quite obsessed with trauma, so
that is
for
true.
me it was a little bit easier. Because the way I put it down is that some people will go to religion, some people will close people out, some people grow bitter, and some people will grow better. And I'm sure in your head you can throw people into categories, even more categories than I put. But definitely the entire time I got to the end, I was like, this is essentially just a whole trauma book. And taking the effects of trauma but putting it to superpowers, and it was I was like, for me, it was kind of a cool moment.
Man, I need so many things of like I've understand so much more things I had to have to talk to you about after this, after recording, because I can't spoil. But yes, I can write a paper on this right now.
No, right,
but I'm not.
I kind of wish I read this in my trauma class because this would have been much more fun.
I know, right? Okay, I want your opinion on this. because clearly revenge is a theme in this book. But I'm wondering, what do you think exactly V. Schwab I don't know how to pronounce names, sorry. What do you think her stance on that? Like, what are you trying to say? Because on one hand, okay, try to do this in the non-spoiler way. Gosh, talking about books without spoiling things is hard. Kudos to all the book reviewers out there who somehow do it. I cannot.
All right.
But, okay. Because, I mean, there's the obvious, like, oh, revenge is wrong and blah, blah, blah. But the way she writes about Victor getting his revenge is interesting. I don't know how to put words to thoughts to words, whatever. Marissa, talk.
I mean, revenge is a big part of it. I really feel though that the revenge was just motivation. But it was definitely like a blinding motivation because Victor was doing everything for revenge, and the second Eli knew that Victor was on his trail, he also was like, "Okay, time to get revenge. Time to finish what we started." Um, and it really like the book is just these two guys, duking it out based
And
on their
people are caught
past.
up in the middle of it.
Yeah. Um yeah, people were literally caught up in the middle of it. And but the way they do it isn't so much like like when some people like, shoot. What's a good example? Kind of like how some like movies, they're like, I'm gonna get my revenge and I don't care who gets caught in the middle or how many innocent people get hurt. It
Mm-hmm.
feels like this book does not do that. They're like, no, I need to attack this one person, and yes, I might assemble like a crew to help me. I'm not gonna, try to sacrifice some innocent bystanders.
That is true. Even Victor, uh the literally towing the line to sociopath person,
Yeah,
even even like have moments where it's like, maybe not this because I don't really want to, but I'm gonna.
yeah. For all that Victor says, like he really is a borderline psychopath, if not a psychopath. I don't know. I'm not a therapist. I can't diagnose him. But he still does, like he still chooses to do the right thing, which I think is very like uplifting.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Again, I can't go into spoilers, but there's just these like small moments where I'm just like, you know what, I appreciate you.
I guess move on to writing style.
Yeah. The only thing I can really
Oh
say
wait,
about
you know what?
what
There is a segment. Well, not segment, topic, whatever thing that I just realized we did not put in here, and we probably should for future reviews out there. World building.
ah
I literally was just thinking about this, like, man, how did we not put that down there?
well, talking about it now. I mean, I like world building because it funny enough, because it's essentially set in this world with like one minor difference, AE, you how you gain a superpower,
Mm-hmm.
essentially, and it kind of mixes with like why and stuff. That's easy to grasp. Like, okay, these two guys are at college and they're doing an experiment and it goes wrong, and then it cuts to something to the future. I mean, obviously intercut, and we're seeing the repercussions of it, and so it's beautiful how simple the world building is, but it's also very intricate because this I give it up to the author because she had to do a lot of fucking research for all the terms she uses, like medically. I'm like, you I'm so smart.
I know, right? What I like about it is, again, as you said, it's like simple, but it's like okay. I think what helps is that she took something that's already established, superpowers, superheroes, that stuff. Everyone knows about it. Everyone knows like a little bit, like something causes someone to have powers, and then and she changed and basically she changed the one thing that really like makes it unique, and that is how. That's kind of like the easiest thing to do when it comes to a book about superpowers is, how, and that changes everything. But it's like the how is something that is still kind of based on things we can understand, near-death experiences, traumas. She adds enough bullshit, bullshit sprinkles on it that that kind of connects the two things that we know, superpowers and near-death experiences, in a way that sounds believable. And that's like the only thing you have to worry about. And the fact that in this book, Victor and Eli are actually doing a study on it, it makes giving us the readers the information about EOs and how they get powers and stuff much more organic, because of course they'd be talking about it because they're researching it.
I also just realized that she kind of dodged a bullet in the whole, because she easily could have gone like, oh, these two college students, one almost has a near-death experience, and then he's an EO, and if you read the book, you'll know exactly what we're talking about. Sorry to drop a term and not tell you what it is, but just know that
It just
EO
means
got superpowers.
Yeah, it just means extraordinary, and that's what they call. It's like basically if you just replace EO with mutants, same difference.
You're done. But like she could have done it where like Victor almost dies and he gets like superpowers and they're like, oh no, we have to figure this out. Do any of that, which I just realized how much I love that, because I'm so sick of death of like, we need to figure this out. What happened to us? And I'm like, please don't.
I like that it's their thesis. So
Yeah.
okay, one, I like that at least part of it they're college students, because I'm a college student. I relate to that. And two, the fact that what they're doing is experimenting, and not like, oh crap, this happened. It's like, oh wait, how do we do it? And then like that trial and error. It's fascinating to see.
Yeah.
Like watching a lab experiment in real time.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me why I like Iron Man so much, is that he gets the idea and he builds it, and we get to watch him like building the suits, and it feels cool to see the process without being bored. Reminds me a
Yeah.
little bit of that.
Yeah.
World building is super simple, and I love it. It's kind of like the writing style, because for me, the writing style was very simple, and like it moves quickly, but like in the best way.
Mm-hmm.
Where like if it is like a heavier moment, it gives it its weight, but it doesn't slow down to a halt, which I appreciate.
Yeah, I think it was very well paced, and I like that, as I said earlier, like it gives you those mysteries and it answers questions, but then raises more questions, and it keeps you on that like breadcrumb to until you finally get all the answers, and that's not it. And then by the time you get all the answers to everything, boom, it's the climax. And it does like you don't really lose it, well, except for that one section after.
It's small.
Yeah, there's like a small section that both me and Marissa are like, okay, this is kind of slow. It's still interesting even when it's slow, but still kind of slow. I will say one
Yeah.
thing, and I'm not going to go into detail, but Marissa will understand, and hopefully you readers will understand, other people who have read this will understand. Her writing, especially near in the second half, it's kind of Marvel-esque, like Marvel comics, Marvel movies specifically.
Hmm.
I would
I can
say
see that.
supernatural, except not really. More Marvel.
Yeah, no, it's more Marvel than Supernatural.
Yep. And that is all I'm going to get into.
I did realize though that one thing I do like about her writing style is that how I just kind of realized how well the chapters flow, even though you do have like the past and present. A lot of times I realize that she kind of avoids the issue of like characters just not like saying stuff they know or like revealing too much.
Mm-hmm.
I like the way that like Victor will be thinking back on like the days before everything kind of went to shit, and it'll show that like days before shit, and it'll cut back to him because someone interrupted him. And I like the way it's more organic. The build up done so well.
I know,
I
right?
love part one. One is just beautiful to me.
Mm-hmm.
I can't go into detail why, but like I could write a paper on it.
Um, I like that she's not afraid to have small chapters. Like, I know some writers might be like, what, 2 pages? That's too small. But the reason it works is one, it's pretty consistent. Like, it doesn't, like, you don't have that 2 page chapter only once. And two, I can tell that she knows that she's only needs to, like, write down what's important. And if that means the chapters have to be small, then so be it. I'd rather have a small chapter filled with stuff that's actually relevant than a longer chapter, but part of it's filler.
Ugh, yeah. That is so true.
Yep.
So I have anyone else who won't do. I know we have a section called other, but
The only thing I have is, I guess I probably could have said this in plot, but I do have to say, for if anyone's worried about this, the ending is satisfying, and that is all I can say.
yeah, I liked the ending. I know I called you like right afterwards, and we were talking about a little bit about it, and it was just kind of funny because it was just like, oh my god, my heart couldn't take it.
Yeah.
There's a few moments I was just like, no. But you're right. The ending is satisfying. I'm excited to read the sequel because there's a sequel. Yeah, I've already said my other, which is, it was nice that both main characters weren't people. Again, I like
Mm-hmm.
it when both characters are either assholes, both good character, good, or both characters are just straight up good people trying to do good things.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. I like it. Um,
So, I'm curious now. What is your score? Because I'm curious about your score system you chose.
I went out of like a scale like 10 being perfect, 0 being dog shit,
Mm-hmm.
essentially. And so I went that kind of scoring. What about you?
Oh, I just did out of 5.
Oh. Okay.
Well, you know what? I can fit it in yours. That'd be pretty easy.
Okay. I guess I'll go first. I
Yeah.
gave it a 8 out of 10.
Holy shit, that's what I gave it.
Oh my god.
Because I think it's a really well written story. It was very enjoyable. It's just that the reasons why I can't give it like a 9 or a 10 is that one, there are some like a little bit obvious things happening, especially at the end. There was one thing that was so obvious, there was no suspense there. Um, I There was that slow section, and like it was, and the parts where it's a little Marvel, those are like that. I didn't quite like that, but I still think it was good. It wasn't anything groundbreaking, but I liked how it like it was paced well. Honestly, if I really wanted to, I could give it an 8.5. Now I think about it, but it was very enjoyable. It's a good book.
The reason I didn't give it like a 9, and I especially didn't give it a 10, is one, 10s are like 10 out of 10 is so hard for me. Like,
I can't in good conscience give things a 10. Like it'd have to be life changing for
well,
me.
the only right now that I actually would give it 10 out of 10, and I would probably want to reread it before I actually did it, was probably like The Color Purple. Because, I absolutely fell in love with it, and especially at the time of my life, it did change how I thought because it was literally a woman coming to terms with her situation, her trauma, and learning to love herself. Um, so for me, that was like, oh my god. And I literally had no issues with the book whatsoever. So that was like that. Like right now, that's the only book I can think of giving a 10 out of 10. But for this one, it's a lot of personal preference. Like I will say that I'm sure someone else will give this a higher or lower score. But I didn't like that it did get slow in part two at certain points. I can't really say why. I just don't like Eli being as religious as he gets, but that's just because that character bothers me, that type of like person. So it's a very personal issue why it kind of got bumped down. And there's one other thing. I had a little issues with like Serena's power. Again, I can't go too far into it. but there was like it's like very slight minor things, guys. Like it really is. So it's still a fantastic book. I just wouldn't give it higher than an 8.
Oh, 8.5.
No, I don't like doing 0.5s.
I
They drive
do.
me.
See, I can only do like 0.5. I can't do any other points, but I can get into the halfway mark because sometimes I'm like 8, 9, 8, 9, and you're like, and it fits both equally to you, so you use a 0.5.
Okay. If I ever come across a 0.5, we'll have to celebrate.
I know, right? So yeah, okay, wait. I don't even know if I want. I need. Okay, never mind. I need like an 8.25 because now I'm like, is it 8 or is it 8.5? I guess it's an 8.25 for me.
Oh my god. So specific. Use my glasses with my math. I'm so accurate.
Well, that's all we've got for you guys today. Tell me, have you read this book? If you do, put your own review, spoiler-free review. There is no spoilers in this house. So yes, put your spoiler-free review down in the comments below. And if you haven't read it, then why don't you put down your favorite like superhero esque type of book, something with powers, where people get powers and stuff. Or you can tell us on Twitter at writing_addicts or facebook.com/writingaddicts.
And don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell so you know when our next videos come out, and make sure to hit that like button. Just not the dislike button. Haley will probably threaten you.
I will have a near-death experience and then come back with the power to, murder anyone who has hit the dislike button with my mind. Don't make me do it. I will.
And we will see you next video. Bye, guys.
Bye.